Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're jumping straight into some really significant events that recently gripped Kenya. We saw widespread protests that, well, many reports called it turmoil, even anarchy, particularly on that Wednesday.
Yeah, it was quite intense.
So our mission here is to unpack President William Ruto's public address, his direct response to all this. We want to look at, what he said to citizens, to his opponents, and how he assessed the whole situation.
Exactly. And it's fascinating to see how a leader handles that kind of pressure, that national flux.
We'll explore the demands from those Ruto must go campaigns, but also the president's very firm constitutional counterargument.
And his take on the real world fallout, the economic side of things.
Yes.
His address right after that Wednesday was, well, it was stark. He kicked off with a serious warning.
What was that?
He said, if Kenya falls, no one will be spared. And then immediately added that the country belongs to all of us.
That's quite a statement. Sets a tone of like shared destiny, shared responsibility.
Absolutely. A call for unity right at the top.
But, okay, beyond that big picture call,
Right.
how did he actually tackle the specifics? The demands from the Ruto must go people for him to step down.
He went right at it. No dodging. His whole argument was built on the Constitution, the framework for changing leaders.
Okay.
He basically asked, how do I go? Like, what's the mechanism? And then he advised them, if you want Ruto to go, look for a better plan. Convince the people of Kenya that you have a better plan.
So not just saying no, but pushing back by saying use the system.
Precisely. He's trying to redirect that energy, that opposition, back into the, let's say, established legal and democratic channels.
Challenging them to win politically, not just protest.
Exactly. Engage within the rules, essentially.
That is very direct. And looking at his speech, what really stood out for me was how he zeroed in on the actual impact on the ground.
Yeah.
He spoke directly to the small businesses, right?
Yeah.
The MSMEs, saying they were hit hardest by, well, he called it theft and lawlessness.
He did.
Yeah.
And he didn't just talk in generalities. He painted a really vivid, almost heartbreaking picture.
What did he say?
He said, and I'm quoting here, we had many people with jobs on the 24th. On the 25th, their jobs went up in flames.
Wow.
We had many people with businesses on the 24th. Today, they are living in squalor. That kind of specific detail, it really hits home.
Yeah, it cuts to the politics, doesn't it? It shows the immediate personal cost.
For sure. It highlights how fragile things can be, especially for, the most vulnerable parts of the economy. Livelihoods just gone almost overnight.
And his deputy apparently echoed that. Something about saving the country, even if it meant becoming unpopular.
That's right. The message was consistent. Stability and the country's future over short-term political gains.
So for you listening, what's the main takeaway from this deep dive into President Ruto's response? Seems like two core messages. First, any leadership change. Got to follow the Constitution, strictly.
Right. That was non-negotiable for him.
And second, these kinds of destructive protests, they have severe costs. Economic, social, especially for the little guy, the small businesses and their employees.
And that warning he gave, if Kenya falls, no one will be spared. Plus the line, it belongs to all of us.
Yeah.
It really sums up his effort to shift the focus.
From political fights to national survival almost.
You could put it that way. It's an attempt to reframe the stakes.
Okay, so this whole situation, looking at Kenya recently, it really leaves us with a big question, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. A really profound one, actually.
Okay, cheers.
Well, how do nations find that balance? Between people's undeniable right to protest, to demand change,
Yeah.
and the government's need to keep things stable, protect people's jobs, their safety, and make sure everyone sticks to the constitutional playbook.
That critical balance point.
Exactly. It's tough. And it's something worth mulling over, long after we finish this deep dive.